I have something to demo. Okay, so you've all been following along with the DBT virtualization stuff, and it's mostly ready to go. It still needs to go through some testing, but there's a big question, which is once we turn this on for people, how do they use it? Especially when when they could have a bunch of extensions in their model to the base DBT schema that they've already been building on top of the old non-virtualized schema. How do we transition them over to the new virtualized thing that we want them to do? And so what we're doing, what we're trying out to solve that is essentially like copy pasting all of those extensions from the old DBT schema onto the virtual one. So I'll show you what that looks like. In this little setup, I have my DBT prod that has an extension on this users table. So it has a calculation. And that does not exist on the virtual schema, which you can't see here, which is called OmniDBT. And then I also have a branch, which has an extension on top of my dev schema, DBT buck. So that's called branch calculation. There's now this button, migrate to DBT environments, that you can click. You get a confirmation. It's going to try to explain what's going on. You click run, tells you it's done. And now that calculation has been added on top of the virtual schema, and the reference has been updated to point to the virtual schema too, so OmniDBT. And if we switch off of the branch, the same thing happened on the shared model. This calculation for DBT prod has been copied into the virtual schema, and the reference has been updated. Also, there's relationship that I didn't show you before. It was just this relationship from the DBT prod schema to a users table has also been copied and had its references updated to the virtual schema. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything.
Very cool.
This is awesome, Buck. I am curious about workbooks. We're not hitting workbook extensions, I imagine.
We are. This is looking for everything that's a
Great.
descendant, everything that's a descendant of the shared or of the schema model. Yeah.
Amazing. Seeing this, the one thing that I think of too is maybe we want an option to not just copy, but actually remove the old ones or something like that. But if we do that, we'd probably only want to target stage. But it's just a thought that like people probably want both in the same underlying mechanism. It would work for both.
Yeah, removing the old one gets into the difficulties of just being much more destructive in that what this thing is not doing is it's not updating any content to point to these new schemas. For the first pass, we're leaving it for users to use the content validator to find and replace if they so choose, doing that incrementally, wholesale. When we go to remove them automatically, then we sort of have to bite the bullet and just do that destructive find replace for them. So that's largely the reason for not having it in this first pass. But I agree they'll want that at some point. It's just
yeah, that makes sense. And I guess what I'm getting at is like if you had that ability and you only applied it to you applied the change to say the branch, you were able to apply it to the branch, then the content validator would actually identify the content that you need to move for you because it would suddenly be broken.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So if there's some way that we can get to that, I think that might be a next step there.
Yeah. Cool. Well, as usual, I can't stop sharing. I did submit a bug request to Rome about this, so hopefully they'll do something. Thanks.